You know that feeling when you just replay a conversation in your head? Like
Yeah.
endlessly.
Picking apart every single word.
Exactly. And imagining like a dozen different ways it could land. Or maybe you're trying to sleep and suddenly, bam, you're mapping out disaster scenarios for the next 10 years.
Right. It happens.
Yeah, that's pretty much the mental maze of overthinking. We've all been there, haven't we?
Absolutely. And it's like a theme park where all the rides just make you anxious and honestly exhausted.
Totally. Often over problems that, haven't even happened yet.
It's such a drain on our mental energy.
It really is. So for this deep dive, we really dug into this very insightful YouTube video from Tam Kaur. It's all about understanding overthinking and, crucially, how to hit the brakes on it.
Yeah, find that off-ramp.
Right. Our mission here is pretty simple, but important. We want to pull out the most actionable strategies, those real aha moments.
Stuff that can help you, the listener, step out of that mental maze.
Exactly. Turn down the anxiety volume and just generally feel a bit more, at ease.
So we'll start by really looking at what overthinking is, and maybe more importantly, what kicks it off in the first place. Then we'll dive into the practical side, step-by-step techniques you can actually use in different areas of your life where overthinking likes to, well, set up shop.
Okay, let's do it. When we say overthinking,
Yeah.
what are we really talking about? What's the kind of core definition?
So essentially, overthinking, it's like hitting the mental replay button.
Over and over.
Yeah, way too many times.
Yeah.
It's this excessive analysis.
Of everything, right. What someone said, how they looked.
Exactly. Potential outcomes, you name it. And the key thing from the source
Yeah.
is that it often means pouring tons of energy into stuff you just, can't control.
Right. Things totally outside your control. It's never simple stuff, is it? Like, did I pay the phone bill?
No.
It becomes, oh no, I paid it late again. What does that even mean about me? Am I irresponsible? Is this the start of financial ruin? Just spirals.
It spirals so fast. And the video gives some really relatable examples. Constantly wondering about your partner's feelings just from one text message.
Oh, class.
Or, dissecting every little micro-expression from a colleague in a meeting. Did I say the wrong thing?
Been there. Agonizing over it.
Questioning if your studies are even worth it, or getting lost in this, fog of worry about your career 5-10 years down the line. Does any of that sound familiar?
Yes, completely. And here's what I found really interesting. The video points out this, weird paradox. When we're stressed or uncertain, our brain kind of yells, overthink this, figure it out now. It feels like we're being proactive, like problem solving.
Ah, yes. That's the brain's little trick, isn't it?
Seems like it.
But the source makes a really clear point. The truly effective response in those moments, it's often to actually loosen your grip.
Release control.
Yeah. Release that need to micromanage every detail in your head and just sort of trust the process a bit more.
So our brains are playing a reverse psychology on us, telling us this mental spinning is helpful when it's not.
Precisely. The video explains that overthinking can give this illusion of being helpful.
Right.
By going over things again and again, we feel like we're tackling the problem or preparing for anything. But the reality, this rumination rarely leads to useful solutions. It mostly just amps up the anxiety.
Video had that great analogy, didn't it, with Lola and Athena preparing for an interview.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Lola gets totally swallowed by the what-ifs.
What if I mess up? What if they hate my outfit? What if I get to the final round and then fail? All that effort wasted.
While Athena, she acknowledges, okay, maybe I won't get the job. But she focuses her energy on preparing well and then uses her leftover time to actually relax, so she can be sharp and present for the real thing.
And that just nails it, doesn't it? Lola's overthinking isn't actually helping her.
Not at all. It's just draining her energy and cranking up her stress, energy that Athena is putting to much better use.
It really is like a sneaky form of self-sabotage.
That's a good way to put it.
You're mentally rehearsing failure before it even gets a look in. And you're definitely trashing your mood and confidence along the way.
Totally. The source also makes a good distinction between overthinking and intuition.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, intuition is often more immediate, like a gut feeling, right? A shift in your energy that just tells you something.
Right.
Overthinking, though, that's characterized by that persistent mental looping, creating these elaborate, usually negative stories in your head.
Vivid mental movies of bad stuff happening.
Exactly.
So what's fueling this? What are the root causes the video points to?
It highlights a few key drivers. Fear is a big one. Fear of failure, fear of uncertainty.
Makes sense.
Past trauma that hasn't really been processed, a tendency towards perfectionism.
Ah, the perfectionism trap.
Yeah, and those unrealistic expectations that come with it. Plus, a deep-seated need for certainty in a world that's, well, pretty uncertain.
And the big question, can overthinking ever be helpful? Because we all try to justify it sometimes, don't we? I'm just being thorough.
Yeah. But the source is quite firm here. Overthinking, as we've defined it, that obsessive looping, it's ultimately not helpful.
Okay.
It draws a line between healthy, rational thinking, which we need for decisions, and safety and overthinking, which it calls obsessive, unproductive.
Something that doesn't actually change anything for the better.
Exactly. Doesn't improve how you feel or your circumstances.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good picture of what it is and why we do it.
Yeah.
Now, the part everyone's waiting for, how do we actually stop it?
Right, the practical solutions.
The video gets into actionable steps based on those root causes. Yeah.
It does. Let's start with tackling the overthinking that comes from that fear of failure, anxiety, worry about the future.
Okay.
The video says this often shows up as those nagging thoughts like, I'm not going to be good enough, or what if this just never works out for me?
It's that classic lack mindset, isn't it? Where you get totally fixated on everything that could go wrong.
Exactly. And the video suggests, dwelling on those negative possibilities, it can almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy, like you're programming yourself for failure.
Oof, right.
So the alternative it presents is to reframe failure. See it not as like the end, but as a learning opportunity.
A course correction.
Yeah, exactly. And developing a sense of trust in how things unfold naturally, accepting you don't need rigid control over every single outcome.
Easier said than done sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Especially on those really anxious days.
For sure. But the video gives us concrete tools. Let's talk about journaling first. It's often recommended, but there's a specific twist here.
There is. The key isn't just venting. It's using journaling for deeper self-inquiry.
Okay.
The technique is to keep asking yourself why about a worry. Keep digging until you get down to the fundamental root cause. And once you find that root, well, you're often much closer to a real solution instead of just spinning around the worry itself.
So like if you're overthinking a presentation.
Yeah, ask why. Is it fear of speaking? Fear you don't know this stuff?
Right.
Once you pinpoint it, you can address that. Practice more, review your notes, whatever it is.
That ask why until it goes away idea sounds really effective for getting past surface stuff. Okay, what about creating an action plan? There was that worry diagram.
Yes. This is great for taking those vague worries and making them concrete.
How does it work?
You write down the specific worry. Then ask yourself the crucial question. Can I actually do something about this right now? Yes or no?
Okay, big question.
If the answer is no, the advice is consciously release it. Trust the process. Let it go.
Easier said than done, but okay.
But if the answer is yes, then you outline a clear action plan. What steps can you take? How? Where? What resources do you need?
So it shifts the energy from just worrying
to active problem solving. It takes those swirling thoughts and gives them structure.
I like that. Turning anxiety into a project plan almost. Okay, what else is in the toolkit for worry? Living in the present.
Exactly. Tapping into mindfulness. Because overthinking loves to drag us into the past, replaying stuff.
Or catapult us into a future full of potential disasters.
Right. So the video really emphasizes focusing on the current 24 hours. What's the very next logical step you can take?
It mentioned the power of now, right?
Yeah, referencing that idea that the future is built by taking those small steps now. You don't need to obsess over the entire journey or the final destination all the time.
Breaking down the overwhelming future into manageable present actions. Okay. The video also mentioned changing your mindset, adopting that it's just not that serious attitude.
Yes. This is about lowering the emotional stakes.
How so?
By viewing something as like a trial run, an experiment, or just one possible outcome among many. It takes away some of that intense pressure that fuels the overthinking.
Okay, give me an example.
The video used starting a jewelry business. Instead of needing it to be this instant huge success,
Right.
approach it as a passion project you're exploring. If it doesn't work out exactly as planned, that's okay. Learn from it, move on. Less pressure, less overthinking. That mindset shift feels crucial for deflating those catastrophic scenarios. So then we get into manifestation, visualization, and affirmations.
Yeah, these are presented as powerful tools to actively rewire those negative thought patterns.
So visualization is picturing good outcomes.
Exactly. Intentionally creating mental images of things working out well. And affirmations are about consciously practicing positive self-talk, self-praise.
The video suggests actively flipping those negative what-ifs, right?
Yeah, instead of obsessing about a date going terribly.
Visualize having a great conversation, a real connection.
Exactly. It's like training your brain to look for the positive possibilities instead of defaulting to the worst case.
Proactive mental training. I like it. And the last tool in this section was about keeping active and busy.
Right. This is presented more as a quick fix, an immediate strategy for when you feel that spiral starting.
Like a circuit breaker.
Yeah, exactly. When you're alone with your thoughts and they start racing, engaging in activities, getting different stimuli, it can temporarily reduce the power of those negative thoughts.
So distraction, basically.
In a way, yeah. The video recommends identifying activities that genuinely bring you joy. Have a list ready, mental or physical, for when you need that diversion.
That's super practical, having a go-to joy list. Okay, so that covers fear and anxiety-driven overthinking. What about when it paralyzes us during decision-making? That fear of regret, the second-guessing?
Yes. Decision paralysis.
Yeah.
This often comes from that deep fear of making the wrong choice and then living with regret.
Yeah.
So the video offers strategies here too, starting with detachment.
Detachment meaning not caring.
No, not quite. It's more about focusing on how a decision feels right now in the present moment, without getting totally tangled up in anxiety about future consequences you can't predict.
Okay, trust your current feeling.
Exactly. Trust your current judgment,
Look.
which leads to the next step. Building confidence in your own intelligence, your ability to think things through.
Right.
And the video makes a really empowering point here. It says, you are the ultimate expert on yourself. Your values, your experiences, your inner world. Nobody knows that better than you. So you are the most informed person to make decisions for your life.
Wow. That's powerful.
It is. Constantly seeking external validation can actually undermine that self-trust. It was kind of my favorite fact from the video, actually. You are your own best advisor.
I love that. You are the ultimate expert on you.
Oh.
And mindset shifts are key here, too. Moving away from scarcity, confronting the inner perfectionist.
Absolutely. Perfectionism is often hiding under decision paralysis.
Makes sense.
The video's message is really strong here. Done is better than perfect. Overthinking can be a way to avoid action because you're scared of not meeting some impossible standard.
So again, ask why.
Yes.
Kept
Ask
out.
why you need it to be perfect. Identify that underlying fear. And then use visualization. Imagine the positive outcomes of just taking action, even imperfect action.
Digging down to the root again. Then using positive imagery. And like with worry, being present and self-compassion are important for decisions too.
Crucial. Letting go of past decisions you regret or feel embarrassed about. Recognizing your past self did the best they could with what they knew then.
Right. They got you here.
Exactly. That frees you from the baggage, lets you make current decisions with more clarity and less self-criticism.
And this idea of having faith, embracing uncertainty, that seems really relevant for decision paralysis.
Totally. Fear of the unknown fuels so much overthinking around decisions. The video encourages actively falling in love with the idea of uncertainty.
Now,
By consciously considering positive what-ifs, instead of only focusing on what could go wrong with a choice.
imagine the wonderful possibilities, the unexpected good things.
Exactly. Allow yourself to imagine those, too. It's a powerful reframe.
It really is. And finally, another action plan, but specifically for decisions.
Yeah. Instead of getting stuck in what-if loops about the decision itself, channel that energy into planning how you'll achieve your desired outcome once you make the choice.
Like the example of moving to a new city.
Right. Instead of just overthinking potential loneliness, make a plan. How will I meet people? What groups can I join? What kind of conversations will I start?
Redirecting that energy into proactive steps again.
Got it.
Okay, let's move into that often tricky area. Overthinking in relationships and how it connects to self-doubt. The video called it a major source of self-sabotage.
It can be. And the cornerstone solution here, communication.
Seems obvious, but hard sometimes.
Absolutely. But open, honest, direct communication. It resolves misunderstandings, builds trust, and prevents so much of the overthinking that festers in silence.
And the video addresses the fear around starting that communication. Fear of a negative reaction.
It does. It encourages taking that leap. But it also highlights, importantly, that you need a partner who's also willing to communicate openly.
It's definitely a two-way street. Avoiding it just fuels the fire.
Right.
Creates more problems.
Exactly. The video also suggests using that overthinking energy more constructively by making a pros and cons list.
Okay, how does that help?
Instead of just spiraling emotionally about a relationship or a person, use that analytical energy. Objectively evaluate, is this relationship, this dynamic actually serving me? Is it worth the mental stress?
Bringing some rational perspective to it. It connects to that 5-year rule idea, too.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not going to matter hugely in 5 years, try not to let it consume all your mental energy right now.
Good point. And again, living in the present,
Yeah.
letting go of past relationship baggage is key here, too.
Definitely. Dwelling on past hurts, replaying old arguments, wondering what if about exes, it just steals energy from now.
From potential positive connections now.
Right. The advice is to actively focus on what you can do in the present to feel good. Connect with friends, do hobbies, practice self-care.
The video also mentioned practicing self-validation as a way to build confidence against those negative thoughts.
Yes, building that inner confidence helps push back against the overthinking about yourself and your relationships. And finally, the idea of detaching.
Detaching from situations and people's issues.
Yeah, but it's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about recognizing when you're pouring excessive energy into worrying about things you can't control.
Especially other people's thoughts and actions.
Exactly. The video mentioned a separate deep dive on detachment, stressing that the only person you can truly influence is yourself.
Right. Okay, and to really anchor all these mindset shifts, the video provided a list of affirmations, specifically for overthinkers.
Yes, these are really useful, powerful statements you can repeat to challenge those negative patterns and cultivate calm.
Like what? Give us a few examples.
Things like, my thoughts do not define my reality, or I am in control of where I focus my attention.
Good ones.
Also, I am safe and everything is working out for my highest good, and I am present in this moment.
It's about actively retraining that inner voice, isn't it? Making it more positive, less reactive.
Definitely. I really liked the one. Instead of stressing, I am going to trust in divine timing and trust that everything I want is already on its way to me.
Yeah, for listeners who connect with that idea of a bigger flow, that could be really grounding.
Absolutely. It really embodies that shift from scarcity and anxiety to trust and abundance. The advice is to weave these into your daily routine. Say them in the morning, maybe.
As a proactive way to fight back against the overthinking habit.
Exactly.
So bringing this all together, this deep dive into Tam Kaur's wisdom, really shows that overthinking, even though it feels productive sometimes, it's actually just creating a lot of unnecessary noise and anxiety.
Yeah, it stems from those deeper fears, perfectionism. But the really encouraging thing is it's a pattern we can change.
Absolutely. You have the power to change it.
Exactly. The video gives this fantastic toolkit. Practical strategies focused on shifting mindset, planning actions, being present,
And cultivating self-compassion and trust. Ultimately, you, our listener, you really do have the ability to take the reins of your thoughts, steer them somewhere more peaceful, more productive.
or fulfilling.
Totally. And that kind of brings us to a final thought for you to consider. Thinking about everything we've talked about, which of these techniques really sparks something for you right now? What's maybe one small, concrete step you could take, maybe even today?
Just to start gently nudging yourself away from that overthinking habit.
Yeah. Towards being more present, more empowered in how you navigate your life. We really encourage you to explore these ideas further, see what resonates for your own journey.